Welcome to the topic series. Today we're going to talk about cap brackets and hat brackets for your helmet. When you combine a cap bracket and a window together, it makes a complete face shield assembly. This still has to mount onto the helmet, and we'll be discussing how to choose the right model for your particular application, the type of helmets that you have, and how to actually assemble these together onto the helmets. I want to start off with describing the different types of helmets that are in the field. We would call this helmet a slotted cap. It has a baseball style front brim only. It has slots right here on the side of the helmet. And this particular helmet does not have a rain guard on the back. This type of a helmet has two different types of options for mounting. You can mount it through the slotted cap adapters here on the side, or you can have an assembly that goes all the way around the helmet. This type of helmet is called a full brim helmet. These full brim helmets have this wide brim that goes all the way around. These are very popular for outdoor construction, and especially in the southwest and the southeast of the United States. This particular full brim does not have any slots on the side of the helmet. So those are the two general categories of helmets that you'll see in the construction site. In some special applications for inspection or meat packing, some very lightweight applications, you'll also see helmets that are called bump caps. And the bump caps look similar to these type of helmets here, but they're smaller, shorter, more closer fitting to the scalp. And those type of helmets also have cap brackets that we manufacture. I'll use that as the segue to go right into that type of a cap bracket. This is a cap bracket and the assembly instructions for a bump cap. These bump caps are so lightweight that they do not carry the slots, and they do not easily adapt to other types of assemblies. So what we've built is a design that works in the ventilation slots on the side of the helmet. These are helmet specific. We list them that way in our product line. And they come with an instruction sheet and even a small screwdriver made out of plastic to attach the screws to attach this unit to the helmet. This provides a very secure fit for the bump cap, and because of the construction of the bump cap is otherwise very difficult to assemble. On our headgear, as you can see here, there's cam locks on the front. These are used for attaching of the face shields, and we'll get into that later, showing how that works on the different models. Going back to this helmet, this is a cap style construction helmet. You can see that it has a slotted cap adapter here. We can either use the slotted cap adapter, or we can have a style that goes around the brim that's a universal fit. On our cap bracket with the slotted cap adapter, we have a very strong catch right here and stabilizing bars on the sides. You can see that on both sides this is facing to the inside. These units are designed to fit into these slotted caps by pressing it in from the top, pressing it through the helmet until you hear it snap into place. These are considered a semi-permanent attachment and not something that you would be removing on a regular basis. To remove it, you push it in on the inside. There's little raised ribs for your thumb to grasp it. You push it back up and rock it out of position, and this will come right up out of the helmet, just as you see right here, and you repeat on the other side. In some cases, you want to leave your accessory slots free for your hearing protection, and you want to use our model CB6 bracket that has an elastomeric band on the rear and a universal fitting assembly to the front. To assemble this onto your hard hat, put the unit onto the top of the helmet, snap it over the front of the front brim. While you're holding the front brim, pull the elastomeric band across the back of the helmet, drop the sides in place, and then center the unit so it's centered on the front. Move this elastic band down as close to the back brim as possible, and you're ready to mount your face shield onto it. For mounting a hat bracket onto a full brim hat, we make the HB2 HD and the HB2S. These models are designed to fit all of the different full brim helmets that are available in the US market. To mount this style, simply place it over the top of the helmet like this and push it over on one side, bringing it forward until it snaps on over the front brim. The pivot assemblies then will allow the shield to be so that there's just enough clearance here for your face shield and to clear the top of your helmet. As we're continuing to describe how to mount all of these different cap brackets and hat brackets, I'm going to now show you how to mount the aluminum style units. This is a CB12-HA, so it's for a full brim hat. I put the steel spring to the back, pull this to this front center position, move this over to one side, and slip this unit over the helmet. Now, these units, because of the strong spring in the back, care needs to be taken when removing it off the helmet. And so I remove it in the same fashion. I bring it up over the edge, work it across the front of the helmet, and I'm able to take this unit off. This model of aluminum bracket is designed to fit on the back of the helmet versus the front. It has a special bend radius that corresponds to the general shape of the back of a helmet. It mounts in a similar fashion as what I had just shown you with the other design. Place it over the helmet. Of course, in this case, you're putting it to the back of the helmet. Spring is coming across the front. Push it up over the edge and work it around into position onto the helmet. This is our most popular model of the aluminum brackets, the CB10-PA. So this is designed to go on the front of the helmet, and the shape of this corresponds to what a typical front brim on a helmet is. I have here a slotted cap adapter mounted onto a standard hard hat. And we would call this a cap style because it has just the front brim in the front. I'd like to point out some of the features and benefits of this cap bracket as shown on this. This particular model is the CB2-HD. CB2 stands for cap bracket number 2. HD stands for high temperature and dielectric. So this is rated for severe service. It can be used around electrical equipment, and it can also be used in very high temperature operations such as furnace operations, casting, pouring, glass manufacturing. When you move this up and down, you'll notice that there's a ratcheting action. The ratchet is only on one side, and the other side has your friction adjustment. They look the same, but you can tell as soon as you move it which side has the ratchet. The ratchet can be set, if you set the ratchet tight, this will not be able to be moved. If you set the ratchet loose, you won't have any ratchet action to it whatsoever. It's because people work in so many different varied applications that we had to give them the flexibility to adjust the pivots to the exact level of tension and ratcheting that they need to have. This is the mounting area for the face shield. So these small cam locks that are here on the side and in the middle are what actually attach the face shield to the unit. For mounting a face shield, I always start in the center. So by putting the face shield onto the center position first, will orient yourself to where the face shield needs to mount. And I turn this center unit up. Bringing it over to the sides, I bring this next cam lock down, and on the last cam lock, I'll bring it around into the back. Now the face shields that we're using here today have a universal hole pattern, and there's a variance that occurs due to different materials, the different cap brackets, and on occasion when you're mounting these face shields, you may say, hey, I'm having trouble mounting it. Go back to what I just showed of starting in the center and working yourself to the two sides. This will almost always solve any trouble that you're having relative to mounting the face shield. Now that the face shield is mounted, I'm going to adjust this pivot and the friction and the ratchet adjustment. What is the correct tensioning for most people? And that would be so that when you're wearing the unit, it stays up nicely right when you're using it. And you can simulate if you're walking or something and see how this comes down. So I'm going to just bring a little bit more tension onto these two pivots. And now you can see it will not come down if you are in a simulated walking position. That's usually just about the correct amount of tension to have on it. I can say that as people move the shields up and down, it's somewhat human nature to grab the shield. But it's much better if you move it down by grabbing it from the cap bracket itself, and the same for raising it. Because if you raise it and lower it by grabbing the cap bracket, then you don't get the face shield or the window dirty. Now I'm showing you how to mount a face shield onto an HB2 HD. This is a hat bracket number 2, high temperature dielectric. You'll notice that the pivots are a little bit smaller than what you had seen on previous models, but they work in exactly the same way. We have a ratcheting attachment on the side and then a friction attachment on this side. I'm mounting this shield, which is an IM22 L6FD, onto this face shield. Onto this hat bracket. So we're going to mount it here into the center first. I'm going to turn this up. Then I'm going to put it over the cam locks on the two sides, turn this down and turn this back. Turn this down and turn this back. Face shield is now securely mounted. For setting the tension, you'll see that as I raise it up and down, I want to make it so that when I bring it into the up position that it stays, even though if I'm moving around, so I'm going to tighten this just a little bit here, both sides. And now in a simulated walking motion, you can see that the face shield doesn't come down, but yet when I push it down, it comes down and it stays. And it'll actually stay in just any position that you want to place it into because of the ratchet. If it starts to fall down, just turn this just another 1/8 of an inch or so of turning, and you'll find that you can tension it exactly the way you want to have it. I would also mention is that these pivot assemblies do not loosen or tighten through repetitive use. So if you're moving this up and down, these are designed that they will not change their tension, and you should only have to change and set your tension once in a while. I'd like now to describe our model CB5-HD. This is a model that's very unique in the industry and is something that will allow you to wear a full face respirator or other types of equipment on your face because it gives a much greater clearance between your face and the face shield. This model has a dramatically extended brim. I'm going to compare this for you so that you can see I have approximately 3.5 inches distance from the inside edge to where the face shield would mount. Whereas on our standard models, we would have a 1.25 inch distance. So what this does is it places the face shield further out from your face, much additional clearance, and you can have a double cartridge respirator on and the face shield won't hit it. To mount it onto the helmet is very similar to what you've seen before. Go into the adapter slots, push it into place, bring it into the adapter slot and push it into place. Adjust the tension. Usually the face shields that are used on this are much larger, up as much as 24 inches on the wraparound for these shields, for this bracket. And you'd set your tension, and now you can see this. There's this very large distance here between your face and where the face shield will be mounted. All of the cap and hat brackets can easily be cleaned. I suggest removing it from the helmet, taking the face shield off, washing this just like it's a dish, running water, mild soap and detergent. Pat it dry and let it sit to the side so that all of the extra moisture dries off of the unit. Simply then just reinstall it onto the helmet and put your face shield back on. In conclusion, in speaking about the cap and hat brackets, you'll find that Paulson has the cap and hat bracket that's necessary for your particular job.